Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new Booktube channel. My name is Christopher Navo, and I'm going to be the host of The Next Chapter. This is my love and dedication to fantasy and science fiction books, but I also like to cover some historical fiction, horror, and manga as well. Why name this The Next Chapter? It's where I'm at in my life right now. I just recently graduated with a degree in computer science and software engineering, and now I also have some open availability while I'm pursuing that new career to work on two passions that have been kind of put off to the side, reading and writing. Writing has been going off and on in my life for about 15 years, mostly off. I'm working on my first fantasy fiction novel, but now I have the time to dedicate a few hours a day to work on that endeavor. As for reading, that's also kind of been in a dark age for me. I just wasn't really feeling the urge to read when I was in college. I was just so burnt out. So now, thanks to Booktube particularly, I've kind of reignited that thirst for reading again. I started watching Booktube maybe about a year and a half ago. Obviously, the big names were prominent for me back then. Daniel Green, Murphy Napier, Elliot Brooks, Mike from Mike's Book Reviews, Patrick Leo. I mean, I can go on. I subscribe to like 60 booktubers now, and I love it. I think the community is great, and I never really intended to start a booktube channel, but here I am, and I'm enjoying it so far. My love for reading fantasy fiction started out like most people when I was really young, C.S. Lewis, Ursula K. Le Guin, and then from there I moved on to Terry Brooks, a lot of the D&D books by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, as well as R.A. Salvatore. And then one year, my sister gifted me a box set of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and then it all took off from there. I still have this box set. It's probably the oldest thing on my bookshelf right now. The pages are falling out. There's yellowing and discoloration. The box itself is just kind of grody. But you know what? Sentimental reasons. I love it. When I went to college the first time, this was for archaeology with a minor in historical fiction up to medieval studies. And that's kind of when my thirst for historical fiction kicked in. So when I was overseas doing some underwater excavations, my love for ancient Rome and Greece and Egypt really kicked in. And then I slowly expanded to reading historical fiction set all across the globe. And I like the fact that fantasy and historical fiction kind of go hand in hand a little bit, because a lot of fantasy settings do kind of have that historical aspect of our lives, but touched in with a little bit of magic. So I thought that was pretty cool. After college, I was still reading fantasy. By then, I was hitting Robert Jordan, George R. R. Martin, Robin Hobb, Glenn Cook were some of the big ones that I've always looked forward to reading. And then the 30s hit, and yeah, that's when my dark age hit. I was moving a lot, but I was also partying a lot. I did get married, and then we moved again out to the Pacific Northwest and went back to school, and that's kind of how I am, where I am today. So yeah, that's a little bit about my reading journey. So let me talk to you a little bit about my channel plans. My number one commitment is giving at least 50% of my reading time over to self-published and indie books. This is really important to me, and I'm really passionate about doing this. Coming from somebody who's writing and will probably go the self-published route, I know I would love this, and I want to give as much support and as much exposure to these authors as I can. I'm glad to see it's already happening on Booktube, and I want to be a big part of that. I will still be covering traditional published books and the popular titles. Like I mentioned, I'm coming from a dark age, so there's a lot I haven't read yet. And I will be definitely covering those just as much as I will be covering self-published. But I do want to show and share my commitment to the self-published industry, that you guys mean a lot to me, and you guys are awesome, and I want to show you my support. Some standard segments I plan to have on my channel. Of course, I'm going to be doing the end of the month recap of everything I read, give my final thoughts of each book. This is going to be followed up with an MBR TBR for the following month. These lists are going to be kind of small and tight. I'm not the fastest reader, and I have a lot going on in my life. I do want to commit to that list, so that is going to be pretty small. In case you want to read along with me, or if I do a read along with a booktuber in the future, I can commit and know I can commit to that list. I will do like a mid-month check-in. If I'm ahead of schedule, maybe I'll add a book, but I'll probably stick with the schedule I set in the first place for the beginning of the month. Reviews. Of course, I plan to do reviews. I haven't decided how I'm going to do reviews. I'm not a fan of the star systems used by Amazon and Goodreads. I do use Goodreads. It's more of a tracking system for me. I kind of stopped doing star ratings on Goodreads, though. I think there's a lot of complexity when reviewing a book. I understand the importance of reviews for authors as well as fellow readers. So I'm still up on debating on how I want to do this. I want to definitely hit on points of each book: the plot, the world building, the character development, and the writing style and prose. And then maybe just compile all that together, talk about the parts of the book I liked, and just talk about the parts that didn't work out for me, and then you can kind of make a determination if that book is going to be for you. I'll do list videos. I know these are very popular both with the booktubers and viewers. They're just fun to watch. And any kind of like booktuber tag videos, those are always enjoyable as well. I know even the intro was supposed to be a booktube tag. I didn't go that route, but if you want to know more about me, you can definitely leave a comment on that. Additional segments I plan to have. Discoveries is all about new and upcoming book releases. This by no means is going to be a fantasy sci-fi news segment. There's already booktubers who already do that sort of thing, and they do it really well. But I do want to cover new releases in case you've never heard of some of these, and they might sound interesting to you. This is also going to include any kind of book hauls I get from friends and family, as well as purchases I make from for myself. Next up is Worth the Hype ? Pretty self-explanatory. This is books that were really popular, have rave reviews, and this is me coming in, having never read them, kind of giving a fresh take and see if, well, they are worth the hype. Next up, I'm a big fan of classical and traditional fantasy stories. I still like reading about the farm boy who becomes a great hero. So I'm going to have a segment called Retro Reads, and this is all about books that are 20 to 30 years old and see if they still hold up well. Next up, Author Spotlight. This is going to focus on one author and their body of work. If further down the road and my channel grows, I can have an author on. That's where this will also fit in. And I just want to focus on that one particular author. And finally, I want to have a segment called Level Up. This is focusing more on video games and the storytelling aspect of games. I know video games get the reputation of not having the most compelling storylines because it focuses more on gameplay, but I thought it'd be kind of a fun, unique take on storytelling. This by no means will take away from any book content I put out. I don't get to play games as often as I like to, so this would probably be more of a quarterly thing, but I thought it'd be kind of like just a fun, unique segment to add to my otherwise book content. All of my segments will, of course, include self-published and indie books, as well as popular and traditional books as well. Well, hey, everybody, that's it for me. Stay tuned to the end of the video and all my videos going forward. I share a little bonus content. It's about 4 seconds long. It's just to show that I don't take myself too seriously and I'm all about having fun. If this channel grows, great. If somebody's getting some enjoyment and getting some value from my content, it's a win for me. I do appreciate a comment though. Let me know what you think of my intro or maybe the segments and my channel breakdown, or leave a comment. Let me know if something you don't see often on BookTube and maybe I can add it into my itinerary. Everything's not set in stone. I'll probably change it myself at some point. I do appreciate if you've already subscribed to my channel. That's much appreciated. Otherwise, my name is Christopher Navo and I hope to see you in the next chapter. Take care. Book-related booktube, blah, blah, blah. What this chapter is... I did not watch Terry Brooks. I read Terry Brooks. Reading... Am I just not good at putting thoughts together? It sounds so f***ing rehearsed.